Here's exactly how I run my SMS marketing for my 8 and 9 figure brands. My name is Max, I run Wellcopy, and we work with over 100 plus 7 to 9 figure brands on a monthly basis, running all their emails, their text messages, and their subscription programs. You can check out this brand right here, $604,000 coming from SMS in the past 30 days. You can check out this brand right here, past 30 days, $952,000 from SMS. Here's another brand here, a little bit smaller, but $231,000 coming from SMS. All of these being roughly 10 to 20% of the store's total revenue. We all know SMS can be very impactful. Inbox is becoming more cluttered and everybody responds to SMS. It has a 98% open rate. But most brands significantly undersend, especially 8 and 9 figure brands. And they do the wrong things, so many holes in their SMS marketing strategy. So I'm just gonna show you exactly what we do for our brands. This is the complete roadmap to scaling your SMS program. Not holding anything back, and I'm gonna shoot through this as quick as possible to make sure you are paying attention. Step 1 is going to be the platform that you choose. So I'm gonna keep this very, very simple for you. Prioritize doing SMS within the platform that you're doing email. If you're doing email on Klaviyo, try to have your SMS in Klaviyo. If you have email on OmniSend, try to do SMS there. If you have email on Attentive, try to do SMS there. It's just so much easier to have everything consolidated into one place. The problem is a lot of times this can be more expensive. So what I highly recommend you do is you get a quote from your current email provider. In most cases, it's gonna be Klaviyo, to be like, hey, how much can it cost for me to do SMS? And then go to the main competitors, which are going to be Attentive and Postscript. You could look at like other ones like OneText, but I prefer just the big dogs. And just go to them and be like, hey, this is what Klaviyo quoted me at. What's the best you guys can do? And try to get these people to compete on their prices. Klaviyo, Attentive, Postscript, they're all great. The SMS platform does not matter. They're all gonna sell you on all these different benefits that the other platform doesn't have, but these are all benefits and little AI features that you're probably never gonna use, and so you should not stress over it. Just pick a platform. The basics will drive 99% of your revenue. Don't overcomplicate this. I get asked about it all the time, so I just wanted to address that up front. Doesn't matter what platform you use. Now let's get to the real first pillar of SMS marketing and getting it to perform. Growing your list. Your SMS list is only gonna make you as much money as the amount of people in your list. So you need to make sure you're growing the shit out of it. So this means using pop-up forms that are optimized for growing your SMS list. Even if you do not currently have an SMS list, start collecting emails in your pop-up form. I see so many brands just asking for email because they're like, oh, I don't have an SMS list. But what happens a year from now when you want to have an SMS list and you want to market to people? You're gonna have zero list. If today you start gathering SMS and down the line you actually want to use it, you're gonna have a large list already that you can pull from and use. So make sure that you're gathering SMS, and I'm gonna show you how to set this up and have it be an optimized way. So you can use pop-up forms in your native email platform. Most people it's gonna be Klaviyo, and that's completely fine. But I highly recommend you get set up on Alia for pop-up forms. Best pop-up forms, aliapopups.com. That's what I'm gonna be showing in this video because you are gonna get significantly higher opt-in rates. Usually opt-in rates in Klaviyo will be like 3 to 4%. We can see here what we have is a 9% submit rate for phone on Alia for this brand. And this is honestly pretty low compared to what we usually get, because this offer isn't a very good offer for this brand, but typically we sit at like 16%, which is crazy high. 16% of your ad traffic being able to get their phone number is huge, because then we can convert them for cheap. But let's go over best practices for getting our SMS growth rate, which for this brand is getting 5.9 thousand new phone numbers a month. So if we go over to campaigns here, we can build our form. So I'm just gonna do some sort of test right here, and then we're gonna show how to make sure that our SMS section is optimized. So if we go in, we created this test, we can create this pop-up with their simple builder right here, and they just have a ton of templates that absolutely rip. And so you can pick what one's your favorite. I always recommend starting with some sort of quiz. This is what works in 2026. We don't ask for the email address or phone number right off the bat. So I'm just gonna take this one for example. It's a simple quiz format, and you can see right here, it gives the discount with this wording. You've got 10% off. It asks somebody a question, and then it's gonna go into like sort of like asking somebody for their email. So just go through these steps, like having to add your logo right here. I'm just gonna skip through this so you guys can kind of like see what the final end product looks like with the optimized phone section. All right, so here we are with the form. We can see the builder. This is what the flow looks like. You've got 10% off. We ask a question. We engage with the customer first before we get their email address. Now, what we want to change here, just for like email's sake, we don't want to tell people continue, because then people are going to think, oh, continue, I'm going to have to enter my phone number. So I'm just going to close out of this form now. Change the button to claim now. And this is where we optimize then for our phone number rate. Most people use copy right here, being like, sign up for texts to be the first to know about news and whatnot. But then nobody's going to submit that. Instead, you want to use language like finish signing up with text to activate your discount. So somebody's like, I already gave them my email address. Like I made it this far. I need to activate my discount. So then you get the phone number, and it works at a much higher rate. Use this wording. Do not say something like get exclusive deals, Just continue the offer and be like, hey, finish sign with text to activate your discount. I've not seen a marginal impact of getting a increased discount for SMS. Some people will be like, Max, what if you offer an extra 5% off for getting SMS? I really haven't seen a meaningful impact, so I wouldn't do it. Just keep it something like this, finish signing up with text to activate your discount, and then just a simple section like this, which Alia helps you walk you through this. If you're on Klaviyo, we recommend that you have this just shop now button, but if you use Postscript or Attentive, then there's a different sort of like setup. But when you're building it out with the section that I was just doing, maybe we can put it on the screen here, what that looks like. It was in the last step of the builder. Then that's all that you want to do. And that is all you need to have an optimized list growth system for SMS. And this is the exact system that's getting us 6,000 new SMS subscribers every single month with this style of form on Alia. Now we have our list set up and we're going to be growing our list every single month with an optimized system. Guys, I cannot stress enough how important that pop-up form is. Most pop-up forms I review have like a 5 to 6% submit rate. But what I just showed you right there can get you a 15%. That's 3 times the number of leads and 3 times your list growth. Make sure you have that locked in. Now let's get into the actual SMS messaging. There are 2 types of messages with SMS. We have our automations and then we have our blasts, our campaigns that we send to the list at a specific time. Let's talk about our SMS messaging first. SMS is completely different than email. With email, you can send a ton of nurture content, you can send people messages every single day, and they're not gonna unsubscribe at high rates. Unsubscribe rates on email are something like 0.3%. Unsubscribe on SMS can be upwards of 3% to 5%. Crazy high. You cannot do nurture content on SMS. It's a lot more intrusive, so we need to be very strategic about the messages that we do send to people. We wanna send a lot less on SMS, and we wanna make sure we're really intentional about what we're saying and it's worth the customer's time, because they are going to get a ding on their phone from what we send. So it's really easy to piss people off there. Some other things to consider. SMS marketing is much more expensive than email. An email costs literally a fraction of a cent to send, but an SMS can cost literally 1 cent to 2 cents to 3 cents per message you send. It's a lot more expensive. Typically it's something like 1.5 cents per send, depending on your platform and your plan. But once you get to a list of like 100,000 people, that's a lot of money for every cent. So you need to be careful of a few different things. Number 1, your message length. The longer your message is, the more it's gonna cost. So make sure you're looking at the credits that you're using. And I'll walk you through some examples here shortly. Number 2, emojis. Emojis take up very large space in your messages. One emoji is equivalent to around 60 to 70 characters in an SMS message. And to save on costs, we wanna make sure that we have less than 160 characters in our messages. And an emoji will take upwards of 60. So it takes up a lot of space. So you have to be careful on that if you want to save on costs. Number 3, your images inside of your SMS marketing. The second you add an image to a text message, it goes from an SMS to an MMS. And an MMS is 3 times more expensive than an SMS. So if I were to send a text message with an image to somebody, it's gonna cost me 3 times more. And so you better be confident in the messages that you're sending. It usually isn't worth the ROI to send an image in your messages, but sometimes once you are at scale, it can be worth it based on the profit that it generates you. Let me show you an example. Here's an example right here where we have this top variation which had an image in the message, and then this bottom variation that did not have an image in the message. We see that the one with the image generated about 1.3 times more revenue, but this message cost 3 times more to send. And so the ROI was technically worse. This costed us a couple $100s to send, and this only costed us like $100 to send. But when you look at net profit, it actually was worth it. So this costed $100 to send, this costed $300. So it costed us $200 extra to make $1,300 back. It ended up working out in this case, but you really do want to be careful and don't use images too often because a lot of times it doesn't play out this way. This is another example right here, an SMS message without an image and then an SMS message with an image. We can see the one without the image had $620 in revenue, while the one with the image, $1,200 in revenue. This is a low sample size, but it is a good indication, again, and it's consistent with what we usually see. In this case, again, it generated more net profit. One thing that's interesting with image-based SMS is they typically have lower clicks because people see the image in the message, and whether it's showing the product or whatever, if somebody clicks that message, they're a lot more high intent. So you see like the one without the image, we're teasing a little bit more the click, being like, hey, click here to view the product. Whereas this one is like, click here to buy. You usually get higher intent. So usually you'll get lower clicks, but more revenue. Again, this one costed about 3 times more, but we were able to make $600 more. This only costed about $15 more to send because this was low volume. So $15 more to send, but $600 more, that's a win for our client. So make sure to test using SMS and MMS and track your costs because again, it doesn't always play out this way. Just another thing, just to show you again the messaging and how simple you have to be. You can take a look at Grüns, for example. They're a 9-figure brand, and some of their SMS messaging. Look at how they rarely use images and it's short and snappy. You might be wondering, why don't they make longer SMS messages? Well, you have to have your SMS messages be under 160 characters in order to save costs. If you go to 161 characters, that email technically is 2 SMS, and you have to pay double for it. That's why we see so many just quick, snappy SMS. However, at key times, they will send something like this. They dropped a new flavor of Grüns, and so they included an image because that's an important SMS. That is the right strategy to use. For important things, include an image. Again, example right here, new product releasing, and then also their abandonment flow right here. You can see I took a look at the product and I went to their cart, so you can see that they included an image right there. That's high impact. And then their welcome flow right here. You can see the images that they include in the welcome flow, showing different infographics and how they differentiate from different competitors. And then after that, they kind of drop it and they go to just plain text-based. Be very intentional about the images that you use. Now, there's a lot of nuance to this, and this isn't just like, just take exactly what I say and use it. We have some brands where we send daily SMS because it makes sense for them. We have some where we have super intricate flows. This is just a starting point. Make sure to test on your own and look at your own brand context. If you want help building an SMS strategy for your brand, book a call below. Now we talked about growing your list. Now we've talked about the messaging and the style of your messaging. Let's get into technical strategy. There are 2 types of messages. We have our flows, which are our automations, and then we have our campaigns, which are going to be the one-time blasts that we send to our list. First, let's talk about our flows. Really, there are 5 key flows that every single 8 and 9-figure brand need to have at an absolute minimum. We need our welcome flow, we need the abandoned site flow, we need the browse abandon, we need the cart abandon, we need the checkout abandon, and then we need some sort of post-purchase and replenishment or win-back sort of flow to get people to come back once they've already bought from us. Let's go through one by one. First, let's start off with the welcome flow, which is going to be somebody joining your email list from the pop-up form, and you probably are giving them a discount. So the whole goal of this flow is to get somebody to buy off the discount and introduce somebody to the brand. Lots of different directions that you can go here. I suggest keeping it really, really simple. What we typically do is we send 3 SMS. We're gonna have the intro SMS being like, hey, here's your discount, and then we're gonna have a little bit more of an educational or sort of follow-up message 2 days later, and then third, we're gonna do an absolute last chance 2 days later after that. So day 1, we're gonna send the intro. Day 3, we're gonna send a reminder with some information. And day 5, we're gonna do an absolute last chance. We found that we wanna have this tight window right here rather than delaying SMS to send like 2 weeks. We wanna send people messages right after they signed up while they're warm. You could absolutely go the more aggressive route like Grüns right here, where they send a message every single day. And so they have this like, hey, welcome to the Grüns family right here. Here's your discount for 52% off. Important to just get straight to the point with your first message. People just signed up for the discount, just give them that. And then you could send a couple of educational messages if you want. They follow the same sort of like structure that I laid out, but they send a message every single day. So then they go with a more educational one right here, remind of the discount, and then another SMS message reminding of the discount before they just continue to follow up on the 52% off. Here's just a super simple template for doing 2 SMS. Just welcome to this brand, add a quick remark like, here we're focused on delivering you clean ingredients. Use code WELCOME20 for 20% off your first order. Shop now. That's perfect. And then you can wait 5 days or something before you have the last chance. Just super simple. Hey there, notice you signed up but haven't shopped 20% off yet. Don't miss. This is about to expire. Shop now. Super simple. And then you could add a third SMS kind of in the middle right here with a little bit of brand information. Just super quick, snappy. Here's a great example of an initial welcome SMS from Elite. Hey, we're Elite. Here's some brand information. Here's your discount. Super simple right here. This could also work as a great SMS message number 2. You can just remove this and then use this as an SMS number 2. Serves as a great reminder. And this is what I would consider just like sort of like the best layout for SMS right here from Wild. They have the initial welcome message right here when you sign up. Hey, welcome, 20% off, use this discount, not giving them any extra information, just take this discount, click right here. And then this was a campaign and this was a checkout abandoned email, so we could ignore this. This was the next SMS welcome, which got sent 3 days later, which is perfectly fine, 2 to 3 days. And they say, don't forget to use this discount, 20% off. Here's the discount code. That's perfect. And then 2 days later, they send the final reminder, last reminder to save 20%, use this discount code. That's perfect. That's all you need, especially even as an 8, 9-figure brand. Keep it dead simple. However, I would highly recommend A/B testing, including images like this, to see if they significantly increase conversions and they're worth the cost. That is going to be your welcome flow. Next up, we have our 4 abandonment flows. We have the site abandon flow, which is going to be anybody who goes to your website, but they don't actually view any product pages. They just browse the website. We have the browse abandon flow, which is somebody who actually views a physical product page. They click on a product and they look at the actual product page. Third, we have the cart abandon flow, which is going to be anybody who goes to add an item to their cart. They add an item to their cart and then they leave. Then you have the checkout abandon flow, which is going to be anybody goes to checkout and then leaves. All of these flows are going to be super simple because technically in the US, it's illegal to send more than one SMS message in an abandonment flow. Yeah, you can see it from Klaviyo right here. You can only use one SMS per recipient in the cart abandon flow, and then it has to be within 48 hours of the event. And of course, that person needs to have consent. And so really, these messages can just be super, super dead simple. Browse abandon, you could just do something literally as simple as this. Wait 60 minutes from the browse event and then have your eye on something, you've good taste, keep shopping. Alternatively, you could add an MMS image of the product that they left behind, but something like this is perfectly fine. Keep it simple, don't use too much text, just get people back on the website. Same thing for cart and checkout. Something as simple as this, it looks like you forgot something in your cart, finish your order. Don't need to get too complicated. If you want to get aggressive, you could say, hey, like your order is ready to ship, or like we can only save your cart for so long. Just keep it super simple. And then test including the image of the product versus not. I highly recommend as well, you can split based on if somebody has bought from you before in the past or not. If somebody hasn't bought from you, then give them their welcome discount. This is, for example, what Wild did for me. You could see that they said use code WILDWELCOME20 at checkout to get 20% off because I had abandoned my checkout. And that's definitely a high lever that I think 8 and 9 figure brands should do in their abandonments. But still, keep it super simple. Notice how simple this is. And just do that for all of your abandonments. Site abandon, browse abandon, cart abandon, and checkout abandon. Now let's get to the last flow, which is going to be a post-purchase replenishment or win-back flow. This just varies so much brand to brand that it's really hard for me to like create a verified like set template. But let's kind of like walk through the key points that I would recommend sending a message. You could put this in one flow if you want, like somebody places an order, have all of the win-back messages in one flow. The first key point that I'd like to send a message is going to be around a couple days after the order is delivered. So I like to send an SMS maybe like day 10 to 14. The person has got the product and maybe they're in the honeymoon phase. That's when I like to hit them with some sort of cross-sell or upsell or something like, hey, are you liking this product? You should buy again or try this product. Send some sort of SMS like that to try to get people to come back. That would be SMS 1. Optional is going to be SMS 2, which is only going to be for replenishment brands. You want to send another SMS message around the time that somebody might be running low with your product. So if I was Athletic Greens, for example, and people take my product once a day and it lasts them 30 days and it takes 7 days to deliver the product, then I would send an SMS message on something like day 35 being like, hey, are you running low? Re-up, place another order. And that right there, that simple reminder is perfect. You could add offers if you want. I don't recommend adding offers until later down the line. And those two are really all that you need for like the initial period. The thing you have to remember is that people are also receiving your campaigns if you're sending SMS campaigns. So I don't like to oversend too much in my post-purchase period. Those two well-timed messages are perfect. And now we'll get into like the longer term win back, which is somebody places an order and they haven't placed another in like 60 to 90 days. Or typically like the good rule of thumb is take the average time in between purchases and multiply it times 2 for your brand. For example, if the average time between purchases for my store is 45 days, then I want to trigger my actual win back offers and more aggressive messaging at day 90. And this is where I would insert just 2 simple SMS with some sort of flash offer. So if I was Athletic Greens here, then maybe I would do some offer like, hey, 30% off. And I would trigger that on whatever double the average time between orders is. So say it was 45, then on day 90, I would introduce, hey, get 30% off just because we miss you. Here's an exclusive discount code. It lasts for 72 hours. Send that, wait 2 days, and then have, hey, last chance. That's all you need right there. All the other automations and whatnot, like everything is going to come down to these core basics, and these basics are going to make you a lot of money. Like this brand, for example, those exact flows that I showed you, $517,000. So here's this brand, for example. We can see the revenue numbers of these different flows. We can see $293K from the Welcome series, the cart abandon picking up $107,000 in January, $46,000 from the browse abandon, the cart abandon from retention, $20,000, and then session abandon, which is site abandon, picking up 13 grand right there. Just super simple flows right here, driving a lot of revenue. For your flows, test your time delays, test your offers, and test using images versus not using images. It's really that simple. Now let's go to our campaigns, which are going to be the blasts that we send to our list at specific times. These differ from our flows because we're just blasting this out to our list. We're sending it at a specific time or day. My tip for SMS campaigns is I typically don't like to go over 2 SMS campaigns per week for the typical sort of brand setup. For the average brand, I recommend 2-ish per week. For brands that want to be super aggressive with acquisition, a brand like Groons, who is spending a shit ton on acquisition, I'm totally fine with sending an SMS every single day to people who have never bought from you before. For people who have bought from you before, if you have a brand that does one-time purchases or subscription, I recommend easing down on how often you send to those people, especially if somebody's actively unsubscribed in your subscription brand, you shouldn't send them any text messages. For the people who have bought from you before, you can ease up a little bit. They've already tried you and you don't need to be as aggressive. But in general, most brands, I recommend 2 SMS blasts per week. The strategy here with SMS campaigns is make your messages worth receiving. Do not do nurture content. Don't try to send testimonials to get people to convert. That just doesn't work on SMS. And in the long term, it's really just gonna hurt you because you're gonna get high unsubscribe rates. Save SMS for big things like back in stock, new product releases, sales, private events, and insider details or information. That's what we wanna use SMS for. We can take a look at the performance of recent campaigns for this brand right here. You can see the revenue across all of these different campaigns. You can see this right here was a launch campaign. So obviously you wanna send an SMS about that. And then there was just a reminder for that launch a couple days later. So this was sent on the 4th and then this was sent on the 6th. This is perfect. And then a special sale. This was a flash sale specific to the SMS list, which I love doing those sorts of offers. So there was an SMS on the 8th and then a 10th, there's an SMS on the 8th for that. That's awesome SMS messaging to include. And then this is like more of a nurture content, but it's something that's timely. It's not like bestsellers of like all time. What they do here is focus on urgency. These are the products that are selling super fast this week. That urgency-based stuff is what you can send on SMS and get decent engagement. And then again, a sale message on the 12th, which is perfect. And this is more of like a nurture campaign right here. This was like a reminder on like a past product release, which you can get away with. I would probably reframe it more of like a back in stock to make it seem like super like important, something like that. But it generated like clearly the least compared to the others. And it got a lot more unsubscribed. So it's something to be very mindful of is sending these sorts of messages. And then you can see a launch right here. And then something super timely, the trend alerts, the like, yo, big news, this is happening right now. That's the stuff you can send with SMS and you can see the performance and why it did so well. The quick, fast, urgent, important messages, that's what you should send on SMS. Do not force out SMS if you don't have to. I'd rather you save sends for big announcements and whatnot so people aren't unsubscribed. But at minimum, you should for sure be working out at least 1 SMS campaign per week. Again, I recommend 2. Now here's the sending frequency of a 9-figure brand. You can see sending on the 26th, then the 28th, and then the 1st, the 3rd, the 8th, the 10th, the 12th, the 13th. And now this is like Valentine's Day sale where they get more aggressive and sending like 2 a day and then sending 1 a day, but then going back to the regular frequency before a big sale push right here. This is sort of like the 9-figure frequency that a lot more brands will do, is making sure they send kind of like every other day, and then for big pushes doing an SMS every single day, which that's fine if you have a big enough list. And because these big brands just have a lot of shit going on, so they have a lot of stuff they can send messages about. So this would be like an example calendar right here of just like doing a social media giveaway 1 week, October collection launch if you have that, and then do like a running low, even if the product isn't necessarily running low, and then a restock. Restocks work really well on SMS, even if you don't necessarily restock a product, say restock, and then like a flash sale and doubling up right here. Like this would be like a standard sort of calendar. I would maybe up the frequency a little bit, but it's kind of just like a baseline to go off of. And here's one more example of a brand where we did over $100,000 over SMS in 1 month with just 5 SMS. We had a collection coming out, and so what we did right here was we did a pre-order collection on SMS. It did really well. And then we had an offer that we did, just like a quick offer right here, free X on orders above X. And this was exclusive to the email and SMS lists. And then we had a restock on a past collection, which didn't actually restock, but we just framed it as a restock because restocks just do really well and they have urgency. And then we did a reminder. And then we had the collection launch right here for this pre-order. And that's all that we did for this month. You could see the performance doing over $100,000. I just wanted to show another example. And this right here, these messages contributed to 16% of that total store revenue on the month. When you're intentional about your messages and you're consistent with growing your list, you can have these sorts of numbers. I have this doc that breaks down all this SMS stuff and gives you the templates and whatnot. You should go to wellcopy.net/SMS. You can get it for free. Also included is there's this campaign swipe file, which I can briefly show you to show you like the content on the inside, but really do not complicate your SMS messages. Literally stuff like this is what makes the most money. Let's briefly talk about segmentation as well. A lot of people get way too segmented on their SMS, and I prefer not to. I prefer to blast the list. I usually make the most amount of money that way. So you can see like for this brand right here, we send to all subscribers, and then we just have this exclusion list right here, which is just going to be unengaged people. And that's what I recommend for the majority of your SMS sends. A lot of people will have engaged SMS lists, like anybody who's clicked an SMS in the past 90 days. But I see a lot of people buy from SMS who have literally never clicked an SMS. A lot of times people will see a message and then they'll go to the website on their own and then place an order. And so I highly recommend sending to all your subscribers, but then just having an exclusion list and then cleaning your list every month. I recommend something like this, like somebody has received a text at least 15 times, but they've never ever clicked after 15. Typically, that's where you can exclude them from most of your messages. But if at any point anybody ever clicked an SMS, even if it was 2 years ago, they are going to continue receiving most of my emails. But I just don't want to keep sending somebody a message if after 15 times they don't click, because again, SMS is expensive, and so we have to be mindful of this. So a simple one like this can really be impactful. And then for maybe one of our SMS messages on the month, I'll just blast it to the whole entire list. Like for example, this one, there was no exclusion, it was just sent to all subscribers. That's where I would do like the big announcements and the big stuff, like this being a New Year's Eve sale. So for segmentation, just send it to your whole list with some exclusions based on if somebody has really never engaged, but they've received a ton of messages, and that's really all you need to do for SMS. Don't try to get too cute with your engaged segments. And then every so often, send to the whole list. And that's a complete process for SMS marketing for 8 and 9 figure brands. If you're a subscription brand, then you'd love this video of me breaking down how we manage subscription brands for our clients and generate them a shit ton more profit by making customers stay longer. You should watch that video, and I'll see you over there. Thank you so much for watching.